Hi everyone and welcome back to another episode of Inside the Circle podcast. Today we're going to go over day 12 and the women's semi-finals. Let's check it out. Welcome everybody and welcome back to day 12, the women's semi-finals, on our recap episode of the Inside the Circle podcast. I have been joined by, once again, Alan. How was your day today?
Not bad. I was at a bit of wrestling, Greco and freestyle. Super event. Interesting to watch. It could last 5 minutes and it could last 25 seconds and all over. Still don't understand exactly how the rules are, but yeah, I'm not going to argue with any of them anyway.
No, definitely not.
No.
So, first game of the day, the first semi-final was Netherlands and Argentina. I thought this could have been an interesting match. It was, but maybe not for the reasons we thought.
Yeah, I mean, both teams started off a bit cagey, and truthfully, possession and different things we got there. Really, everything in the first quarter was quite. The Dutch attacked, but it wasn't attacking. They just moved forward. The Argentinians absorbed anything that the Dutch sort of put at them. There wasn't a lot of attacking play. It was all very much interception, and things they got there. Netherlands got a penalty corner. It went wide. They referred it for a foot, that went for a long corner, but they lost that referral. And again, there's an early referral that could really have caused them a little bit of problems. At the end of the quarter, I mean, it seems to be a story that we're telling anyway. Argentina were slow to start, but then sort of started to build up. Their stick ball skills were amazing, and some of their passing was very good. But the Dutch passing was at a different level for me. And just before the end, there was an unfortunate clash, and quite a bad injury to Berg. A bad facial injury. They didn't replay it at all. No. And you sort of had to worry, and she really did stagger off, but they did say there was a lot of blood. Now, she was okay. She did come back on for the second half. She had a plaster and stitching here, but you could already see bruising started. And really, the quarter tapered off a bit. An Argentinian green card at the end, and really that quarter fizzled out a bit. Yeah. I think both teams were sort of sizing each other up, but the Dutch did have a little bit more of the upper hand. Into quarter two, the Dutch started to sort of increase the attacking, and but the Argentinians again defended well. There was very little penetrations. I mean, if you look at it, at the end of the half, the Netherlands had 60% to 40% possession. Wow. And they had 10 circle penetrations to Argentina's 0. Yeah. So that's massive, but it also shows that, the pressure was on, but it wasn't a back and forth, to and fro, end to end stuff as we've seen. It was really cagey. And look, the Dutch started the second half attacking, and really there was a brilliant ball down the right-hand side, basically from 23 to 23 to Fokker, who picked up the ball beautifully and then had a one-on-one on the keeper and reverse stick, hit it into the side netting, and it was a cracking goal. It was there, and 3-4 seconds the ball was in the net from the release from the 23. So
it was an impressive goal.
It really was very, very impressive. Argentina sort of lost the ball on their own 23 a couple of times, but had to defend quite a bit, and the Dutch then 5 minutes later an attack down the left hand side, hit the ball into the circle. Was it Nuniek? Then deflected it inside the circle, and the whole thing again set up by Fokker, who seemed to have a really good first half, really steady. Was involved in a lot of things, a lot of short corner plays. She was thereabouts as well. And that made it 2-0. And really, that was probably how the match was going. And that's how the match sort of was panning out.
So actually, the Dutch in that quarter only had 2 attempts on the goal and scored both. Unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, and again, Argentina had nothing. They had absolutely nothing. The rest of that half, Argentina couldn't get out of their own 23 and were just camped there for the whole period of time. And look, it ended 2-0. As I said to you, goal scoring opportunities, Argentina had 4 in the first half and scored 2. 10 circle penetrations to none. And you knew the writing was on the wall. I never thought Argentina were going to come back.
No.
As I said to you, Yusha Berg, who got hit in the first half, she came out at halftime to knock a ball about. I think they were trying to see if physical activity was going to start to nosebleed again. And she did play for a bit, but they did sort of just slowly bring her off. And I think they just went, look, the game's safe enough. And we can afford to rest her and make sure we get that going. Argentina in the second half came out positively. I thought they played more positively and they attacked a bit more. Whether it was the hairdryer effect, I'm just not sure. The Netherlands had great runs by the Dutch number 7, De Waert, and she just was walking into the circle at times. She then got from one of those plays, she got a penalty corner, and Yippie Janssen scored bottom corner,
like she's been doing.
Yeah. But again, I think her statistics weren't just as amazing as everybody had earlier on. The Dutch, Argentina, they got a penalty corner 6 minutes into the half, missed it, and it just wasn't looking that they were being able to connect at the end of it.
That was probably what I thought. Forgive me. Yeah, it was their final touch. Their final attempt was just either being passed too far ahead of them that they couldn't make it, or actually the Dutch were then there.
Yeah.
The final pass, it was the pass for what the Argentinians always do, that ball just ahead for the runner to carry on, but all of a sudden there was just an orange wall in front of them. There was a player there. Low stick, great block tackle, and coming away with the ball each time is how I saw, basically from first quarter to end, what was happening with the Argentinians. They were being smothered. They weren't allowed to play their style of hockey.
And that's it. There was none of this fancy, yes, they had the skills in close quarter stuff, fantastic in the corners, and the patience of getting the ball out, but it just didn't go anywhere. Argentina's Granado got a penalty corner, foot in the circle. They then got a couple of penalty corners, one after the other. Gozzolini had a shot off the knee, another penalty corner scramble. There was nothing. It just didn't come to anything. It all just fell apart. It went wide. It was picked up by a defender. And at no point did the Dutch ever look flustered when they were under pressure. And Argentina didn't look flustered. They just seemed to absorb it. And I have to say they played very, very well for that. The Dutch finished the quarter with several shots on goal. I thought Sarah Wilson umpired really, really well. She spoke to the players. She talked away at them. There was a couple of things that I think she spotted, and she just spoke to the players as they were running back and she was taking position. I thought it was really, really good umpiring at times. I've written down here for the third quarter, I had to count the number of Dutch players on the pitch because I believed they were playing with an extra man. I really did. I thought so. And that quarter ended 55% to 45. So the Argentina came in a bit more, but it wasn't attacking
between the two Ds, because actually throughout this match, and it leads into the fourth quarter quite well for me. Both teams played between the dash line of one day and the dash line of the other. There was very little actual attack into that last dash line into the circle from both teams. Now, when the Dutch decided, right, we'll go for this, they did it, while Argentina just couldn't get past that dotted line at the circle. It was very interesting to see. It was.
How did the fourth quarter go then? I mean, I unfortunately had to get on a bus to get to work, but it just sort of fizzled out a bit, did it?
No, Argentina really, they were constantly trying. I thought they needed a spark, where they needed one of the players to stand up and go, right, let's stop mucking around, take the sort of game by the collar and give something. Not to say that they weren't given everything, because they definitely were.
Yeah, definitely.
Just needed something from them. And really that summed the quarter up. They were one player up. Dutch got a green card for Sanders for knocking the ball away. So they had the opportunities, but the Dutch just absorbed. And even with the player off, they had the opportunity to go down the far end. They got a penalty corner. Jansen's flick was saved initially.
Yeah.
And then Vasseur had a rebound. It was saved. It was really good play from the Argentinian goalkeeper, who actually, both goalkeepers didn't have a lot to do.
No, they didn't, but when they were needed to be into action, they played very well.
They played very well. Yes, the Argentinian goalkeeper let 3 in at this point, but they were 3 good goals.
Yeah.
If she was getting battered constantly and those 3 goals went in, no one would say anything. Yeah. So that's why I'm saying the play was almost from dash line to dash line. No real circle attack from either team. Not that Argentina could attack the circle, and the Dutch almost in this fourth quarter played it a bit like a training quarter. They just worked on their structure. They worked on long balls, bringing it back. Again, just like you said, they didn't look flustered at all throughout this.
At no point.
No, so definitely not.
And so final score 3-0.
3-0. Now, the possession stats by the end of it, if you compare it to the half time, the Dutch had 56, Argentina had 44. So there was a slight push from the Argentinians. And then again, circle entries. The Dutch only got another 8 to make it 18 for the match, and Argentina got 11. So you could see that second half they were going for it a lot more, but the Dutch defense was just so strong. They smothered any attack in play. Their penalty corners were ran down. They just didn't have that last finishing touch that they needed. Really, I think if Argentina had scored in that second quarter, to make it 1-1, could have been different. But I think once they went the 2 goals down, they really struggled to get their feet and get something from it.
Argentina never looked like they were going to score. The Dutch had them the whole way through. Yeah. But look, there you go. First one done. And later on this evening, we've another exciting one. I'm still going for China here.
It could be. It's going to be interesting. Before we go over that match, our friend in Paris, Simon Mason, was able to get an interview with the French hockey player Timothée Clement, who did really well during the games. He got a few goals. He was one of the French's probably star attackers throughout. And I think after this interview, you might, yes, he is a big guy, a bit like them all. You might have to leave us. You're abandoning
Yes, unfortunately, I've tried to do half a day's work anyway with you, but unfortunately, I'm going to have my hands tied with probably a full collection of gold, silver, and bronze medals. But we'll see how that goes.
Very nice. Well, all the best for that. And here's our
take care.
Here with Timothée Clement from the French side. Your first Olympic Games, your initial thoughts. I appreciate the results, a little disappointing, but your thoughts about the Olympic Games.
Yeah, the result was disappointed, but of course the experience, playing in Paris in this crowd with fan and family, it was crazy. So we will of course think about the experience for the results. We will be stronger in the next one.
And highlights for you personally or for the team?
Yeah, of course. I think the first Olympic with the team was insane. It was very, very crazy to play in the stadium in Paris with a lot of fun. So, of course, we are very happy.
And from the matches that I saw, the game against Spain, a 3-3, the excitement of that, how France played was exceptional.
Yeah, the game was very close. I think we missed something to do better. It's a sport, sometimes we won, sometimes we lost, but I think it's important to analyze, to continue to training a lot, and we will win this game later, I think.
And finally, people talk about the crowd being the 12th, the extra person. To me, the experience was fantastic. For you as a home game, was it an incredible experience?
Yeah, incredible. It's the first time we have a competition in France, and for sure, the 13 man on the stadium was crazy. and it's amazing to play with this fan on this squad. Yeah.
Congratulations on being an Olympian.
Thank you
We
very
hope
much.
to see you on the Olympic fields again.
Yeah,
Thanks
that's
for your time.
amazing. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Simon. That was a great interview with Timothy Clement, and absolutely right. I think the guys from France should be really excited and pumped for what they can do and aim for the next Olympics. The way they played, it can only get better, and if they build from this starting block, I think they could do really well in the future. Going on to the last game of the day, which was Belgium and China, and there's a reason I made sure Dad was working with this one. China won in the end. It was 1-1 in normal hockey play, and it went to shuttles or shootouts, whatever you want to call them, and it ended up being 2 for Belgium and 3 to China. It came right down to the wire. Started off well for Belgium, and they won the penalty corner 15 seconds in. It was saved, and then it was well defended by China on the rebound. And from this, it was quite back and forth to start us off. And from both teams, Belgium then sort of started to settle into a good structure and started playing the ball really well from their back line up to their forwards. Though China defended it well, and probably the Belgians at this point lacked that just finishing touch that was going to potentially get them a goal. And really, that was the theme of the match throughout. For both teams, Belgium just lacking that little clinical touch at the end, China defending well and coming away from it from there. It was similar to the previous game. It was played at the start of this match between the two Ds. All the play was in the middle 2 quarters of the pitch, with an occasional break into the final quarter for each team. Going into the second quarter, China started right off the bat, real attacking pressure to start them off. They win a penalty corner. It hit a body from Belgium. They scored it. It was an initial save, which was brilliant, but it was the rebound from the injector, Zhao, which got it into the net in the end. 1-0 to China. Belgium sorted themselves out a wee bit, worked themselves down the pitch well. Fortunately for them, they won a penalty corner. Unfortunately, this ended up being 4 attempts. China ran the ball down very well. They ran it down. Flick was saved. Then it was a dangerous play, re-award, and on the 4th attempt, it was put wide by Belgium. And constantly, China were very good with the referrals in the first half. They referred that 4th quarter just to make sure, because initially there was going to be another penalty corner given. China referred it, they won it, and were given the free out. And again, second quarter, China absorbed the Belgian pressure extremely well. China got a green card end of the second quarter. Belgium pressed it hard, but nothing came of it. Halftime stats were very, very close. It was 50-50 possession-wise for both teams. Again, this was done in this middle section of the pitch. Very little to do for either keeper, really. Similar to the game before. So the goal from China was a strong start for them. Belgium had 6 circle entries and China had 7. So again, it was really close. You could see and you could definitely feel that China were happier. Yes, they had the goal. And really, Belgium, the takeaway and going into that halftime, really needed that final touch. And you could start to see at the end of that second quarter, the frustration was starting to kick in. And from third quarter onward, the frustration for Belgium was high. Going into third quarter, China win a penalty corner 30 seconds in. It doubled the time from Belgium's first attempt. It was from a Belgian foot. It was ran down very well from Belgium. Really, at this point, from that penalty corner, Belgium definitely had the more attacking play in this, though China matched it very well. They were marking fantastically. Because of the Chinese marking, it was very difficult for Belgium to get that final pass to an attacker, to a higher attacker, or what was happening quite a lot was Belgium were getting the ball, running really nicely up the pitch, and they found themselves alone, maybe one extra attacker up the pitch that they couldn't get to because there was 5 Chinese defenders in the way. So it was a very frustrating quarter for Belgium, and it just kept on like that. They won a penalty corner from a foot. Belgium referred it. It was defended very well from the Chinese, and again, nothing was happening from it. From any attacking play Belgium had, it was turned over very quickly, and they were put right back on the back foot from China. Belgium got a green card at the end of this quarter, and with about 50 seconds left, and this was because of chatting back. This was coming, to be brutally honest. Quite a number of the Belgian players were spoken to say that you have to stop talking to me like that from the umpires. I thought that was very good, but it still happened. Every decision, they were questioning it, shouting at the umpire, so therefore they got a green card with 50 seconds left, and China put the pressure on them for this last 50 seconds. Now, on the frustration from Belgium, and it leads quite nicely into the fourth quarter. If you were a Belgium supporter, or you were leaning towards the Belgian support, you would have found this a very frustrating match to watch. First off, from the play from Belgium, and second off, it definitely felt, and I could be completely talking out of turn here, it definitely felt that some decisions were just not going the Belgian way. They were not getting the rub of the green. And again, this continued into the fourth quarter. It was a strong Belgium start. Intensity was good. It led to a penalty corner. It was saved. The rebound chance was then well defended from China. This made it 9 attempts from a penalty corner and hadn't scored any up until this point for Belgium. China were crashing the ball really nicely into the D, looking for deflections. They were very close at some points. Belgium just needed to tighten up. And then Belgium lose their referral with 5 minutes 30 to go. And I think this was critical. There was a couple of occasions after this that they definitely could have used this referral. Again, at this point, Belgium just went for it. They were putting the pressure on the Chinese, but the defense from them was just brilliant. I've said it this whole time. The Chinese defense was brilliant. Again, it was a red shirt that the Chinese were wearing, but it was definitely with a hint of orange. And the Dutch style from Alison Annan was definitely coming through. You could see that through this match. If the tactic was to frustrate the Belgians through this, they did it spot on. And because of the frustration, they were losing the ball, bad touches, and unable to get the final touch in the D for a short corner, for a shot. And if that was the Chinese tactics going into the second half or even into this fourth quarter, they did it brilliantly. They did, however, win a penalty corner. It was a Chinese foot. They finally scored it, making it 1-1. The first shot was saved well, and then it was a first-time sweep by Bouvet into the netting, and there was 1 minute 50 left. And from this, the Belgians just attacked, leading to nothing, unfortunately. Now, bit of afters, as we would say. Final whistle went, and out of Chinese frustration, the player hit the ball very dangerously into the Belgian player. All hell broke loose. One of the girls came over, pushed. There was a bit of pushing and shoving, and it was then referred by the umpire. And this is probably the right decision. But again, if you're already frustrated watching this match from a Belgian point of view, this would have added to the frustration, and you could hear it in the crowd. It happened. The boos rang out, the shouting, the jeering, and it was very evident that they were not happy with the decisions that were being made on the pitch, rightly or wrongly. So referred it. It was very evident. The whistle went. The Chinese player, within 5 yards of the Belgian player, cracked the ball. I think it hit her in the thigh. It was dangerous play. The umpire, the third official, who, again, I'll say nothing, wasn't given a lot of Belgium-facing advantage, and again, adding to that frustration, gave it so that it was a 10-minute yellow to both players. So the Belgian girl that pushed the Chinese girl got 10 minutes, and the Chinese girl that hit the ball dangerously into the player got a 10-minute yellow as well. Again, I am not an umpire. I am not privy to the finer details of the rules. I would just find that very frustrating at the end of the match that they were both yellow carded. I would absolutely agree potentially with the retaliation from the Belgian player getting a card, but I think there was only one way that ball was going, and I just, again, probably for myself, watch it from a Belgian point of view, I wanted them to do well. I found that frustrating. The crowd found it frustrating. The Belgian players and coaching staff were very frustrated with this result. But it went into a shootout. Up until this point, again, very close. Belgium had 54% of the possession, China 46%. Belgium 17 circle attacking entries, China 11. You could see that Belgium started to take over, but again, it was their final touch that just was letting them down. So we go into the shootout, and Belgium scored their first one, China missed their first one, and then Belgium came up, scored their second, fantastic lob over the keeper, really confident play, great goal. China scored their next one. Belgium one was saved. China scored. Belgium one was saved. China scored. So Belgium had to score this one. And once again, it was saved by the keeper. The keeper did a great job in the penalty shootout for China. Like I said, she let in 2 at the start. The second one, you were going to struggle to save unless you were standing right in the line. So she did very well. Overall, China should be extremely happy with how they played. It was brilliant hockey throughout. Again, very Dutch style of keeping the ball, defending well, moving up the pitch when they needed to, and just working. Again, I probably would have said they weren't in a very high gear throughout that match. And that's because, on the flip side, Belgium were not playing their best hockey. Again, in my opinion, from watching their previous matches, they were not on fire on this game. And I think the frustration early on and probably the setup of the Chinese players really led to them just not getting into the flow. It appeared every so often, and you went, oh, this is it. But then the Chinese defense smothered it, and they couldn't get back in that movement again. It was disappointing for them. Absolutely, China played the better hockey in large parts of that match. So well done. And I think from that match there, they definitely deserved to be in the final with the Netherlands. Obviously, Alison Annan's ex-team. So it'll be a really interesting match. If they play like that, I think it could be an interesting match to see what happens. Let's not forget, Belgium will play Argentina. And I think, again, could be a really good game. It's going to be really interesting to see how the Belgians bounce back from this. This was quite a heavy defeat emotionally, so it'll be interesting to see how they take this rest day on and go in against the Argentinians. So, like I said, that leads into a bronze medal match of Belgium, Argentina, and a gold medal match of the Netherlands and China. And I think the 4 teams that have performed well are in the 2 medal matches. It's great to see that China have a guaranteed medal. I think they deserve it. They've played really well throughout this tournament. It's going to be good to see what happens in that match. That Argentina-Belgium game could be a really good match. 2 different styles. The Argentinians with their fast hands, quick movement, which they weren't able to do against the Dutch. So it'll be interesting to see if they can do that against these Belgian girls. And again, if Belgium set up and the way they had been doing throughout the tournament, play like how they've been doing it throughout the tournament, and not let their frustration come out and lose their heads, could be a close match. They could defend quite well and try and get Argentina on the counter-attack. I'm looking forward to Friday. It'll be interesting. But before that, we have the men's finals days tomorrow, which I'm looking forward to, and I cannot wait to recap. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching today's recap. It was interesting. 2 good matches. Please let us know what your moment of the day was down below in the comments. And remember, you can always like and subscribe to keep us going. And if you don't want to watch me, which is very understandable, you can listen to the full podcast on Apple Podcast and on Spotify. But thank you very much for joining us again. Thank you, Alan, for joining us earlier, and thank you very much, Simon Mason and Timothy Clement, on their interview halfway through this. Thank you very much, guys, and bye-bye.